And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, this is Tom Vasel, and this is something a little different here. It's a spoiler review for Deckscape Test Time. Now, you heard that part, right? Spoilers. If you're watching this, I'm going to ruin this for you, but this is kind of a way for me to talk through this and talk about the different things I thought as I was looking through this particular set. And that way you can, if you've played it too, if you know about it too, then you can kind of, we can commiserate together. So it starts off here with a story, and you're in a laboratory of Dr. Time, and this was cool. I thought that this picture would mean a whole lot more. As it turned out, it wasn't that critical, but it was still kind of cool for purposes of the game. And then Dr. Time talks to you, and it's explaining how to play. And then it gave the first puzzle here, and it was like, push the button that turns on all three lights. So it shows red and blue and purple, and it would be purple that did it, right? And when I saw this for the first time, I thought, oh man, this is way too easy. But then it kind of indicated how the game was going to work. So then we got some clue cards, which you can read through backwards, which I thought was kind of an interesting way, because if you just glance at it, you don't see anything. But then it did something I really liked here, which is where it had some different curtains. So it had a yellow curtain, a green curtain, a red curtain, and a blue curtain. So this was kind of a pretty cool way to show the game here. And this was nice because if you're playing with a bigger group, and I played this game through twice, you could each look at the different things behind the curtains. So we take away the curtains, and we look right here. And so I looked at here, the closet's locked, you need a key to open it. Here, you need to push the correct square to open the lock. Here, the clock shows the wrong time. Here, you're reading a blackboard, a robotic voice says push X to proceed. Now, this one I figured out pretty quickly, if only because I've always seen that joke where it says find X, and it says X is right here, and you circle it. And I was like, there's an X right there. And so, yes, that was it. So going to the next card. And then when I did that, you could look at the next card, and it showed you which button to press here. And I was like, oh, this definitely matches that. And it was pretty easy because they just inverted the colors. I thought that was a fairly easy clue. You push the right button here. You have to move that around a little bit to match it. But you push the right button, you get to the next card, and you find a cipher, which always excites me when I find something like this, but you don't have anything here. Then it asks which one was the special pill. Now this puzzle I found was really fun to play with kids, because in this one, you're essentially looking for the one pill that's a little different than all the rest. So all these have blue touching red, touching black, touching white, except this one, which is blue, black, white. Again, this was a pretty easy thing for us to do. You found it, you went to the next card, which gave you a pill. This one also, I found this one to be pretty easy. I looked at it right away, and I was like, is it that simple? Because if you look, this one is 2, 4 times 8, 7, 6, and 4, all mirrored and stuff. But when I played with my family, this took them a long time. They were trying to count the number of squares and the different things there. But once you do it, you can see here that 6 is pretty easy, and go to the next card. And then you get a badge. And then you have the files here. Now you notice that we haven't even looked at the rest of the stuff, but this was kind of easy just to keep following. This one, my kids really enjoyed this one because it's like, which file do you drop the pill into? So you see the pill here, and it goes to black. Then black goes to green. Then green goes here. And then you find that, and it goes there. Then that goes to black. Then black goes to that one. And then that one goes here, which is this one, the yellow file. So that was pretty easy to do. And then you go to the next card, which gives you a prism and a broken circuit. Here you have to figure out what is missing, which microchip is missing. So at this point, we kind of pause and look at the other ones. Because while one person's working on this, and you need a yellow thing to get to the red one, these could be done. Now this one, there's always something I do when I play escape rooms, when I try these things out. And that's always like, what other ways can you look at it? Can you look at it sideways? But this one was pretty much, can I look at it upside down? It was a pretty easy thing, I thought, for me. However, I found other people did not see that right away. But again, this says the clock is a hint for the book. And so, yes, Oshi. Here you needed a electronic card. and you need to stick the electronic card with the arrow pointing up. Well, where is this electronic card? Well, then we go elsewhere. Here, you have to find the token with the wrong reflection. This is a pretty good one. I mean, it tells you exactly what to do, and you just got to figure out that the 9 and the 6 are incorrect. Okay, the 4 actually works. It's kind of interesting how you messed with that one. So you do that one, and then you found this panels. Now, this one for me was a really hard clue, because we were like, okay, press a square indicated by the arrow. So we're like, is this the square? Is this the square? And we were trying to think too hard. We followed every single arrow until we realized that almost every arrow ended up pointing at this square right there, which was what it was. All around it, those arrows are pointing at it. It was a lot easier of a clue than I thought it would be, and yet, yeah, it took us a while to find that one. So we got that one. We got the set of keys, and we have the keys here, and instantly you're like, which key do we find here? And again, this one was pretty simple. You just looked at the symbols here, looked at the symbols here, found that symbol, matched that symbol, and boom, you got to the next one, which gave us the other half of the cipher. Now, the cipher was interesting because I saw the arrows, and for a while I said, maybe this is this what it is? And then I said, well, maybe I should just flip it and do it like that. And once we flipped it, it took me pretty quickly to flip it, just because I thought the arrows should point at each other. Also because if you do it this way, you don't get a word. But pretty soon you find out that the word is Einstein. So here you get the electronic card, which it says stick in there with the arrow oriented. Now this one took us a little bit to figure out, because I don't know why the optical illusion of the white and red, I didn't see that the arrow is right here. I said, is that the arrow? Is that the arrow? I was thinking more of like an arrow. Maybe there was a line on here. Once I looked at it more carefully, it was a little bit easier, and you open this one up and you get the flashlight. The flashlight has another thing. Remember what I said? You look at everything from all different sides. So this one was kind of like, look at it this way, and Eiffel. And again, I found this clue to be fairly easy because of that. And immediately, Eiffel, Paris, boom, press Paris. Done. Now this clue was, again, one of those ones we thought was maybe too easy. It says assume the correct position. So we see 4 of them, and one's sitting down, and my family said, well, you need to sit down to press a button? And I said, well, the silhouette in the background, should it be the same one as number 2? But that seems too easy. So we thought about this one way longer than we needed to, because that's actually what it was. Here it was pretty easy. It's like, you need to make all the lights go off at the same time. They're all colors. Well, every kid knows a prism's used for that. So you just say you use the prism. And this is one thing I like about this set, is that you actually use the prism to do these different things and get to the cards. And that was just a fun thing to get there. So then we have the body scan. You have a disc that you can use, although more incidentally, you have different things that are on this disc, so that's going to be handy. And then it says here, take the helmets from the suitcase. The required key is the only one you could wear. Now this one took us a little bit to figure out, because, you know, which keys are you going to be able to wear? What does that mean? Well, once I say it like that, it sounds easier, right? You're looking for one that's a necklace. You're looking for one with a loop, and there's your key. So you have the key, and you go to the next card. And this one here, which one are you going to put on? And it's halt. Well, again, this is kind of an easier one where they put these red lines there. And so I thought, okay, they're crossing off, the H and the T mean something, but incidentally, they're just crossing off 2, they're crossing off 1. You need to do lock 3, which was a lot easier. And then you get the helmet. And that's everything from the green door. So then, if we look at the yellow one, you need to put the correct code. And again, remember what I said about doing everything from an angle. And so I thought, okay, well, is there a way, if I close this from a different angle, can I get numbers? How does that work if I look at it from different ways? And remember that thing you found earlier, the badge? Well, where was that badge? You put it on top of this. It took me a while to figure that one out. Maybe I didn't find the badge yet. Maybe the badge comes a little bit later. Is the badge down here? No. Well, the badge is around here somewhere. Yeah, here's the badge. And we were keeping the items in front of us, so this one wasn't so difficult, but sliding them up into here, or was it this way? Yeah, it was that way. That was kind of a neat concept there. And then you open that, Find a weird blue thing that you hang on to. Then it says which number corresponds to the X on the string. Now this is one of those math problems, right? You got 2, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 5, 6, 2, 8, 1, 4. And this one we talked about for a while. But interestingly, there was a hint in the notes, and I thought this was really cool because you got those notes a long time ago, and we had gotten rid of them. We didn't even think we needed them because we had used the notes for this, and we thought that was all you needed. But 224 divided by 2. But right, each one is 224 divided by 112 divided by 56 down to 7. This one took me a while to do because I was not thinking bigger to smaller. I was thinking, all right, 2 2s plus 2 is 4. Then 4 divided by 4 is 1. I had all this kind of weird things, and my kids were like, oh, just divided by 2. I'm like, well, great. So here we needed the missing part of the panel. Well, I'm pretty sure this is the missing part of the panel. And, how are we going to get to that? So you look here, and it says, which microchip is missing? So we see 1, 7, 5. And this one, for me, took longer because I was like, I need something else to figure this out. And you don't. You're actually just looking for the numbers on the circuits itself. They kind of put them in blue here. 1, 7, 5, and then that one becomes a 2. I did eventually get that one. And then here you have the circuitry and the flipping thing here. And it says find the 5-digit code to activate it. What 5-digit code? Well, if you look at the circuits, you can see the dots. So this one we had to draw on the paper. This one took me a while. My kids, it took them a really long time because the inverse thing was a little bit more difficult for them. But then once you do that, you activate the panel. And then you go to the next card, which apparently I have thrown aside. That's 20, and so 21, which I threw around here somewhere. So anyway, while we're trying to figure that out, let's take a look here at the final pile. Going through all this stuff. You have the mechanical door. This one is the only one I think that I used a clue to look up. No, it's not mine. I could not figure this out. You have to put a disc in and put the code in a specific order. Well, I already had the disc. I knew that the disc had specific things on it. So you could see 3D body scan, blue, red, yellow, red, green, and it shows it on here. But I couldn't find that anywhere. It never occurred to me that you needed to use them twice to do that. Then in which direction, this one you just need to know which, if you turn a cog one way, which way it turns other cogs. That was pretty simple. And then here, which symbol by the quadridimensional coordinates. So the symbol you select, you had to go back and find it on all these things. It was on 4 different things. It never occurred to me to go back. Again, this is the one, when my kids played it, they're like, oh yeah, we've seen some of these symbols already. I had not even paid attention to that at all. So this is one spot where they beat me. I believe I had to look at a clue for this one to get this one. And then you pretty much end it, you go here, and this is actually my favorite puzzle, I think, of the whole thing. It's like, this machine doesn't work, why? And we looked at it, we followed the wires, we couldn't figure it out. And I showed it to my kids, and they're like, yeah, probably someone forgot to plug it in. They said, joking. And that's what it is. It's unplugged, which cracks me up. Then you go through here. This one thing I found interesting, when you go back, you're supposed to leave an item in the past, right? Choose one of these items. This is kind of like just a story thing, like which item you pick. So, oh yeah, here's 21. It gave you the batteries. And then you use the batteries later on to get the flashlight. That's right, you couldn't use the flashlight until you got the batteries. Sorry, I went out of order there. But, so you had to finish the yellow one before you did the, okay. But anyhow, which one of these do you leave in the past? And I think we left what did we leave? We left the notes in the past, which was not very useful. The pill was, I think, the best one to leave in the past. Or the magical blue item, because it basically lets him do the thing. But either way, they give you scores, and I found that fascinating. As you can see watching this, I didn't think this one was that hard. I had a few hang-ups, but my kids and I were able to handle it. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoy it, and I really look forward to seeing the next one. And now I got to sit here and put all these back in order so someone else can play the game. But that is a positive. That's Deckscape test time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.